Look, I'm not a journalist. I don't claim to be a journalist. I'm just a fan, a very passionate fan at that, and I have plenty of opinions that I have no issues in sharing. As sports radio in this city, what are you trying to do to Jalen Hurts? What are we doing here? This is not really talking about his play on the field because guess what? You're allowed to criticize Jalen Hurts when he doesn't play that well. I've been on record saying that he regressed last year, which he totally did. All you gotta do is look at the stats. 101.5 passer rating in 2022 to 89.1 in 2023. Most importantly, 8 turnovers in 2022. Just 8 turnovers. All the way to 20 turnovers in 2023. Granted, I think a lot of those issues came from the fact that Brian Johnson was basically running a high school level offense. But Jalen Hurts is going to have to bounce back in 2024 in order to wipe the stench of last year clean and not even have to think about that garbage ever again. But please, let's not act and pretend and tell each other fantasies that Jalen Hurts was the main, or in some people's minds, only reason why our season ended the way it did last year. It was the defense. It was the defense. We went from allowing the third least points in the league in 2022 to the 26th most points in the league in 2023. We went from allowing the least passing yards in the league in 2022 to the second most in 2023. There's a pretty big reason why we took Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean with our first 2 picks in this past year in this year's draft. It's because our defense did not get the job done. We had 2 incompetent defensive coordinators calling the shots this year. We had an inexperienced rookie in Sean Desai, and we had an overmatched buffoon in Matt Patricia calling the shots. Our linebackers couldn't tackle, and very importantly, and obviously, our 2 starting cornerbacks, Darius Slay and James Bradbury. Oh my God, James Bradbury. Both of them fell off a cliff, and that was one of the main reasons. The main reason why our season ended the way it did. Let's not pretend that Jalen Hurts was the biggest reason why that happened. All that defensive drama, that was not on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts' struggles and regression was just one part of a much bigger picture. I would say Nick Sirianni is that picture, but we'll get to him later. That's not even really what the media is focusing and talking about, though. Now, the media in this town, such as Joe Giglio, Hugh Douglas, Joe DeCamera, Spike Nepotism-Eskin, and even Hunter goddamn Brody, who I used to be a pretty big fan of until he sold his soul and started spewing out whatever garbage hot take of the week is being spoken at the radio station and he hasn't been fired yet, are saying that Jalen Hurts is immature. He's selfish. He's not fit to be the face of this franchise. You know why? It's because when he was asked a question about Nick Sirianni in a recent press conference, he hesitated for about 5 seconds to figure out what he was going to say. That's the reason. Jalen Hurts apparently is now, he should be public enemy number 1 in the city of Philadelphia. He should be run out of town because he's selfish and immature and not a good leader for this team because he hesitated a little bit when being asked a question about his idiot head coach. Now, these people, I could have sworn that Nick Sirianni, these people wanted him fired a few months ago. Now, all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts hesitates a tiny bit when answering a question about him. And now Jalen Hurts is now public enemy number 1, and he's now the cancer on this team that we need to get rid of and that he's not fit to be the face of this franchise. Are you kidding me? First of all, Nick Sirianni is an idiot. All right? He's the epitome of the office space. So what is it that you do here? Line. He's nothing but Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie's puppet. He doesn't call plays on offense. He doesn't run the defense. All he does is this. And yelling at opposing fans and yelling at opposing coaches. That's all he does. That's what he does. He's an idiot. And he's gone from that guy who no one is comfortable with being our head coach to the guy that we're choosing. The sports media is now choosing sides with his side instead of Jalen Hurts. Look, Jalen Hurts is a quiet, reserved, stoic guy. He's not going to give you long answers about your questions that you wrote down all this time. You spent all this time writing down these questions. You're all of a sudden you're shocked and appalled that Jalen Hurts didn't reward you with a good old 5 minute long answer. He's not going to do that. He's not going to fuel your egos in doing that. All right? These guys don't know how to handle him. They knew how to handle Chase Utley back in the day. They loved Chase Utley. They loved how Chase Utley, all he did was just work hard and didn't say much and just went to work. Apparently they got a problem with Jalen Hurts now. I don't know what changed. But these guys look at Jalen Hurts and see how stoic he is and how he seemingly disrespects their questions. Yeah. And then in retaliation, they make up all these things about him and basically try to get him run out of town. Are you serious, dude? I am so happy that a few months ago, AJ Brown literally called into your radio station, called into 94 WIP a few months ago and basically said, "What are you guys doing? Why are you trying to create drama that doesn't exist? Why are you trying to get the fans? Why are you trying to get a big portion of the fan base to turn against us over lies and basically slander our names that we have done nothing wrong?" Sports radio doesn't speak for the fans. They don't serve the fans. They're egomaniac know-it-alls who love nothing more than the sound of their own voice and think they're way more important than they really are. They only have jobs because of the athletes in the city and because of the idiots who call into their stations most of the time. That's it. So, if you have a platform like that, you have a lot of power and you have a lot of responsibility to not spew garbage like that and try to get a big portion of your fans to turn against one of your star players in the city for no reason whatsoever. That is garbage, and it needs to be corrected, and it needs to be snuffed out. And I'm sick of it. I really am. That's why I made this video, is because I cannot stand just this constant sludge of garbage from the Gillios, the DeCameras, the Brodies of the world, and trying to turn the city against our athletes who've done nothing wrong. So please, be better. Please, be better. I'll leave it at that. Be better at your job.